Hey, welcome to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. And today we're going to get into the matchups. The Pittsburgh Steelers found a way to win yesterday, beating Miami Dolphins 28-15. I thought it would go at least as I figured it still would maybe come out with this win. It'd be a tougher than what it was, but it's clearly and now you see the reports coming out now. Um, Miami is considering benching Tua. Um, at the end of once they fell behind, that game was pretty much over. Tua didn't give them no chance to come back in the game. Um, I don't know what had happened to him. I mean, we know what had happened to him, but is that really got an effect on him with the concussions? Because he's terrible. Is the scene it's like basic, just basic stuff that NFL quarterback really shouldn't be doing. But anyway, with that said, let's jump right to this. Here. All right. So this is week 15. Like I say, this season is really going quick. I mean, before you know it, it'll be playoff time, and hopefully the Pittsburgh Steelers will be part of the playoffs. So Steelers end up getting the victory, winning 28-15. Um, the Dolphins they were game at the beginning. I mean, to me, um, and I didn't get a chance to watch the game live. I was not feeling well, but um, when I rewatched the beginning of the game, I thought the Dolphins was actually the more aggressive team. I mean, they were coming up, laying some licks on some of the Steelers players. The Dolphins had the running game going. But once they fell behind, once they fell behind and passing the ball, it was all she wrote. It was a done deal after that. So let's get into these grades. Quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And this is something I said in my I forget what it was, but um this team is going to just go as far as Aaron Rodgers takes them. I just think and you never know. I mean, he can get hot, he can get on the roll. It seems like they're kind of piecing together the offense and kind of doing different things now, trying to throw some things together. But I thought for the most part, Aaron Rodgers was on his game. Um, Played a good game. Still, I'm not even gonna really get into if he's holding the ball and all that. I mean, I still think that sometimes he 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 the ball, to make another play, get a bigger play. I think sometimes he gets in trouble with that. But that that's his deal. So with that, I gave Aaron Rodgers a B plus. 23 of 27, 224 yards, two touchdowns. You know, he threw the ball well. I kind of wish he would have, got the receivers involved a little bit more. But um, he he was okay. He was okay. I mean, honestly, the way he played yesterday, like I say, just get the receivers maybe more involved. He's going to do some good things for the Steelers in the playoffs, I think. But like I say, at this point, this team is only going to go as far as number 8 can carry him. Running backs. Um, running backs. Well, the Steelers ran the ball like 35 times, so that's something that we all have asked for and just banging our heads on the ground of wishing they did more, in which they did. Um, Jaren, Jalen Warren. I mean, I know he sick, but I kind of think Gainwell has passed him up in the running back room. I think he's really RB1. I think Aaron Rodgers really likes him. I think he probably reminds Aaron Rodgers of Aaron Jones a little bit. You know, especially with the receiving part of his game. But the running backs, I gave him a B. I mean, Gainwell, 13 carries, 80 yards, 6.2 average, 7 receptions for 46 yards. That's a nice game. I mean, so he gets 20, 25 carries. He's well over 100 yards. Um, so I gave the running backs a B. I thought they did pretty well. Warren really didn't have a good game as far as running the ball. He had that one long run, but it got called back for penalty. But you know, no complaints here. Like I said, I thought Gainwell really had a nice game. He's really huge out the backfield, and I think and know that if everything breaks down, he knows exactly where he's going to be, and I think that's the point that they like. That he knows where he's going to be at all times. Wide receivers, more targets. I think DK only caught like 3 balls. I think Thielen caught 1. MVS caught 1. That was a touchdown. So, but you got 2 touchdowns out of the receiving room, so can't complain too much. But I just think these guys got to be more involved in the offense, and I think it's coming. I think it's coming because but like I say, you got 2 touchdowns out of that room, so that wasn't too bad. But they're gonna have to really get those guys going. But the receiver room, I gave them a B also. Metcalf, 3 receptions, 55 yards, 18.3 average, 1 touchdown. He played big and physical. I know he kind of slung Mika Fitzpatrick down like a little rag doll, but just got to get these guys way more involved in the offense, and that's not so much on the receivers. I think that's just the scheme and you know trusting those guys and getting the ball in their hands. But I gave them a B. The tight ends, um, really no problem there. Didn't really wasn't really asked to catch too many passes. You got 2 touchdowns out that room, but kind of weird that you got 2 touchdowns from your tight end and both of them was rushing touchdowns. But I gave that room a B. Freiermuth led the way with 3 receptions for 45 yards, a 15 .0 average. Can't really beat that. Um, like I mean, to be honest, for for what they did, wasn't too bad. Like I say, you just gotta keep these guys involved, and you're trying to feed three guys. Like I say, it was just weird that you would say that you got two touchdowns at your tight end room, and they both was rushing touchdowns. Offensive line, offensive line. I gave those guys a B also. Um, I mean, you look at the stats. You had 22 first downs, 62 total plays, 336 total yards for a 5.4 average, 201 yards passing, 6.7 yards per pass play, 135 yards rushing, a 4.2 average, and gave up 3 sacks. So I thought for the most part those guys played well. The running game was there, and finally, what kind of happens to the Steelers defense a lot happened to Miami, and they just ran they they ran out of gas. They ran out of gas, and you know Pittsburgh kind of put it to them, and then that's where I think the weather becomes a factor when you start losing like that, and you really don't have no confidence in your quarterback to have a chance to come back. I think that's when the weather really becomes an issue, and you kind of start thinking like, "Why I'm out here freezing my butt off, and we got no chance of winning this game." And I think late in the second half of that game, I think that's where the Dolphins kind of got to. So the offensive overall grade, I gave them a B. I thought they were, they took care of business. Ran the ball well, passed the ball well. Again, I just like to see the receivers a little bit more involved. But you know, I'm not gonna get, I'm trying to stay level. I'm trying to stay level. I mean, I'm not gonna get too high. I'm not gonna get too low. I give credit where credit is earned, and they played well yesterday. They played well yesterday, and that I actually, you may say this is probably one of the best complete games the Steelers and had in a long time. All right, on the defensive end, the edges. I thought those guys were kind of quiet. Um, wasn't really no huge plays made. Um, Actually, I gave him a C. Um, Sawyer was the leading stat guy with 3 tackles. Didn't get any sacks from those guys. Um, I think we got a tackle for loss from Highsmith, but Herbert had a real quiet game. But didn't those guys kind of helped out in the run a little bit. Well, it wasn't a terrible game by them, but they didn't really do anything special. But just for missing TJ Watt not being out there, I I mean, I thought for the most part those guys they took care of business and kept things going. Defensive tackles, I gave them a B. I thought Cam Hayward probably played his best game of the year. Um, 5 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. I think this probably was his best game that he played. I guess you could say he kind of took up the slack for TJ a little bit, and seemed like he was motivated with that. I know when he got his sack, he did the little TJ leg kick. So yeah, Hayward definitely played his best game of the year. They were kind of getting gashed. The defense was getting gashed a little bit in that first quarter. I mean, Miami really had the running game going, but like I say, once they fell behind and had to start passing the ball, it was basically curtains. Tua is just, I don't know. It might be over for him. It just might be over for him. Inside linebackers, Patrick Queen, his best game of the year. He played his best game of the year. 10 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. I gave the inside linebackers a B plus. I know Wilson had a sack. They definitely helped out with the run game, and like I said, they were getting gashed. They were getting gashed, but again, just like with the defensive line, that's once they fell behind and they had to throw the ball, they the Dolphins couldn't do anything. But I thought Patrick Queen probably played his best game of the year. The corners, I gave the corners a B. To be honest, really wasn't challenged. Really wasn't challenged too much in this game. Samuel Jr., 2 tackles, 1 pass defense, and he got his first interception. So that's something to work on and build from. I'm pretty much thinking that more than likely this is probably going to be your starting corners with Samuel and Porter. That's probably going to be your starting corners moving forward. I gave those guys a B. Like I say, they really wasn't challenged a lot in this game. Waddle had a couple of catches, but nothing major. And I thought those guys played well. They tackled well. So with that said, let's move over to the safeties. The safeties, I gave them a B minus. I thought the safeties played well. Again, they just really wasn't challenged in the passing game. Now, the tight end for Miami kind of got loose at the end and made some plays. I know the other tight end, he dropped the 2-point conversion, which he was wide open, and he just dropped it. And I don't know if you heard Jalen Ramsey kind of let him know how he felt about him. But with that said, that's yeah, I give those guys a B minus. I thought they did okay. I thought they did okay, but we will see. We'll see how this continue to go. We'll see how this continue to go with Ramsey and see if he can get better. 6 tackles, one sack, and 1 tackle for loss. Oh man, that sack! It seemed like he came from center field and really showed some great speed and closing speed on that. Tua didn't see him, and they turned it into a sack. So the defense, the overall grade for the defense, I gave those guys a B. I thought for the most part they played a solid game. Again, I just think Miami just didn't really challenge them, especially in the second half. By the second half, it was curtains because when they had to go to the pass, it just wasn't working for them. Just wasn't working for them. Special teams, again, not really much happened there. Boz went 4 for 4 on his extra points. 5 punts for Waitman, 231 yards, a 46.2 average. Jaylen Warren had 2 returns for 54 yards, a 27.0 average. I think the only miscue that they really had was, and I don't know what was going on. I don't know what he was really trying. I know the Boz missed the landing area or the landing zone. So Miami was able to start a drive at the 40. But other than that, I thought the return game was pretty solid, and I thought the special teams overall was good. I thought they were good in the coverage, and so I gave those guys a A. All right, let's go to coaching, and you know how this has been going lately. Haven't been really been going too good, but offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. Again, he had 22 first downs, 62 total plays, 336 total yards, 201 yards passing, 135 yards rushing. Gave up 3 sacks, but the time of possession, time of possession, the Pittsburgh Steelers actually won it, and it was 33 33 to 26-27. So I gave Arthur Smith a B minus. I thought he called a pretty much a decent game, or Aaron Rodgers called a decent game. Like I said, my only complaint would probably have to be that I just thought the receivers needed to be a little bit more involved. But other than that, I thought he did fine. Finally ran the ball, and no complaints there. So with that said, let's go to the defense. The defense, I got a defense, or Terrell Austin, I gave him a B. The defense gave up 15 first downs. Only Miami only ran 48 plays. Only had 285 total offense, and I mean the last 2 games, Pittsburgh gave that amount up almost just in rushing yards. So they averaged 5.9 yards a play. They gave up 222 yards passing. That was 6.9 average, 63 yards rushing, 3.9 average on that, and 4 sacks. 4 sacks. So again, you can't I can't be mad at them. I thought they pretty much came out with a solid game plan. Like I said, I know in that first quarter the defense was getting they were getting gashed a little bit, and it probably kind of started looking. It wasn't looking too positive, to be quite honest. Like Miami was going to be having a big day on the ground, but like I say, finally the offense came and helped the defense, and had 4 consecutive scoring drives, and that put Miami in a bad position where they had to kind of get away from the running game and go to the passing game, and like I say, once they did that, it was curtains. Mike Tomlin, I'm gonna give Mike Tomlin a B. Back in first place in the AFC North, and currently the 4th seed in the playoffs. And I think if the playoffs was to start today, I think the San Diego Chargers would be coming to Pittsburgh. I would take that game. I mean, granted, they handed Pittsburgh probably one of their worst losses of the year, but I think that's a situation, and that's a team that the Steelers probably could definitely compete against, and probably will have opportunity to beat them. And then also, come playoff time, the weather should be a little worse, and kind of get San Diego here. Maybe you can make them one dimensional, and they can't pass the ball that much because their running game is pretty much gone. So I think from week to week that's going to change. So overall, the overall grade for the coaching, I gave those guys a B. I gave him a B. The Steelers got the W. That's what they needed to do. It's going to be a big challenge on Sunday against the Detroit Lions. That's going to be a that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a big challenge because Detroit, they're barely hanging on to a opportunity to get in the playoffs. So they still is all they want. So it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good game. The Steelers know what they need to do, and I would say one of the things you want to do is run the ball, have ball control, keep Detroit's high power offense on the bench. That is it. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see what the Steelers can do on Sunday, and we'll just go from there. So until next time.